Listen, if I'm being completely honest, I am very embarrassed of my digital footprint. I feel like it haunts me wherever I go. The content I have left behind in my past is not something that is easy for me to look at. I ended up going crazy because of it, and I made this entire timeline of everything I've ever posted on the internet. Well, I mean, it's like half of the videos I posted. I would not shut up. Like, someone's gotta put a muzzle on this guy. Now, why did I do this? Why am I showing it to you? Why does this video exist? I do just have a really weird history online, and I want to be able to kind of document it all in one place. But also, after years of YouTubing, I've said and done a lot of dumb stuff, and it really embarrasses me to be attached to my name and my face. So for some reason, I felt like mapping out my journey up until now would just like help me come to terms with my past and just move on from it and stop caring so much. Honestly, this thing sucked to make. It took a really long time. It was very emotionally taxing. I hope it's worth it. Also, I don't think you necessarily need to know who I am or know about me to take something away from the video. I would just enjoy the ride. And also remember that this video is about me and my story. It's all about me. So do not bother anyone else that I mentioned in this video. I'll freak out. All right, let's just start at the beginning then. When I was younger and YouTube was just starting to get popular, my parents always told me to never put my face on the internet. If you showed your face on YouTube in 2010, you were going to be kidnapped at the least. So when I was 11, my friend and I started a drawing channel, and of course I took all of the proper precautions to ensure that I would not be a victim of kidnapping.
Hey guys, this is Nick. We're going to show you how to draw Rigby from Cartoon Network's new show, Regular Show.
Hey guys, today we're going to draw Rigby from Regular Show.
How to Draw Rigby was my first YouTube video, and it was a massive success. At least, like, views-wise. The comments did not like us very much. Now, a few years later, when I was a sophomore in high school, I was in a video production class taught by my favorite teacher, who was just outed as a child predator a couple months ago. Now, most of these videos never saw the public eye, but one that did was a music video I made for a song by my favorite band, 21 Pilots. Now, I loved this band so much that I was getting bullied for it in high school.
We are 21 Pilots, and so are you.
And a couple years later, I ended up making a YouTube channel devoted to 21 Pilots, edits, and mashups. Yes, I am the guy who made Ode to Soulja Boy. Please hold your applause until the end of the video. And I also liked posting music that I made online. I had a song that came out in 2017 with my high school band, Second Grade. And in college, I made music with my brother under the name Denton, and we put out some albums and some videos. I honestly just wanted to drop out of college and make music, but I really was not that good at it. So I just got a degree in audio engineering, and I never used the degree for anything. So I was in college when the pandemic started, and I used all my time inside to start a weekly YouTube channel, which is something I wanted to do for a really long time. It was called Nick Is Not Green, and it was devoted to talking about video games and music, which was two things that I enjoyed. Now, despite the fact that I had like 100 subscribers, I spent more time working on these videos than I did on my videos once I was doing YouTube full time. And I had this thing where I really loved making like little music videos and making little songs that would go in the videos. I'm skating with Jesus, I'm getting this track. I start thinking that might be a solution. Maybe at a gaming law inside the Constitution. Boys wanna say they game, live spit with the correct name. No MK crash, no Forza. Game was not successful and reviewers called it lame. I'm not sure where I got the confidence to do this kind of shit at the ripe age of 21, but I thought it was worth watching apparently. However, one of my greatest accomplishments was when I made a Minecraft parody of Yummy by Justin Bieber for a video I was making about the history of Minecraft parody songs. Yeah, you got that zombie pig, that zombie pig, that zombie pig. Yeah, you got that zombie pig, that zombie pig, that zombie pig. Grab your swords, make a portal. Yes, Steve, yes, Steve, yes, Steve. I may be embarrassed of a lot of my past, but Zombie Pig, I'll show Zombie Pig to anybody anytime I get the chance. You got that zombie pig. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, I got bored and started making a lot of little musical comedy sketches for a while, which kind of led me away from YouTube and had me trying out TikTok. You guys know TikTok? right?
If her name ends in the letter A and it sounds like my brother, do yourself a favor and wife her up right now.
Now, quick tip for any aspiring creators out there, but if you have a concept that's not necessarily funny enough for a comedy video, just turn it into a song and it will disguise the fact that the video is not really that funny in the first place.
How the hell does cat talk cool?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, around this time, I was getting close to graduating college, and I did not know what I was going to do with my life. And so I decided to make TikToks asking some of my favorite YouTubers to hire me.
Can you please give me a job? I'm living pretty close to your home. Hey, Curtis Connor, I like your hair.
I really don't know why I thought making like gay little songs for grown men would help me find a career, but they seemed to get a little bit of attention, so I felt like I was doing something right. Now, I kept making dumb songs on TikTok, and one of them was one where I said that I played the baby who is the son in Teletubbies, the Teletubby son baby.
I'm the Teletubby son, baby. I'm the actual baby.
And randomly, this video hit a million views, which was the most I've ever gotten on any platform. I legitimately thought I was hot shit. I walked into one of my college classrooms one day, and some guy I never talked to was like, "Hey, aren't you the guy that made the Teletubby son baby video?" And I was like, "Nice to meet you, dude. I am him." What a rush that was. This also brought me my first bit of controversy online because there were a lot of people who did not think it was cool that I lied about being the son baby. And with the newfound fame I had, any exposure is good exposure. I loved it. And I just kept making a bunch of silly songs about dumb stuff, trying to go viral again. One of the videos that I made that I was pretty proud of was one about Crazy Frog's penis. And that video did not perform very well.
Why does Crazy Frog have a penis?
But a couple months later, I decided to make a song about Cho Chang from Harry Potter, and that video did really well. It actually did better than the Teletubby Sun Baby video.
Why'd she name the only Asian character in Harry Potter, Cho Chang?
The people loved me, and I basked in the glory. I had 50,000 followers on TikTok, and once again, I thought I was like so cool. Now, during this time, something amazing happened. One of the YouTubers that I made a song about a month earlier actually did hire me to edit for him, and his name was Curtis. Well, it still is Curtis, but it was Curtis back then too. And I really don't know why he asked me to edit a video for him. I did not have experience editing a YouTube video for a big YouTube star before, but I did have this like delusional belief that doing this would help me become a YouTube star myself, which was a crazy thing to believe because at the end of 2020, I had just finally hit 1,000 subscribers. My TikTok was doing pretty well, but my YouTube videos were literally getting like 50 views in a week. I was like using old Nintendo games to try to make songs out of them, which is like a cool idea, but people did not care, dude. But I edited my first video for Curtis, which was called Episode 5, The Big Reveal. I remember how much effort and time I put into that video, like as if my career depended on it. And when the video came out, nothing happened. I was freaking scammed. I mean, I was paid for the job, but I was scammed. But editing that video convinced me that maybe the way I was making YouTube videos was not a viable way for me to find an audience online. So in 2021, I changed my genre completely and I made a commentary video talking about Harry Potter fans that shifted realities to hang out with Harry and his friends at Hogwarts. I wasn't really used to this concept of just like riffing on like funny stuff that I find online, but it was fun to do and it was way easier than scripting out a whole video and putting together all this crap that nobody was gonna watch. Now, I posted a clip from that video on TikTok and the video ended up getting a lot of attention, more than any other video I had posted on my channel up until that point. It was no how to draw Rigby, but I mean 20,000 views for somebody that usually gets 50 is a pretty big deal. And this video actually led to my first bit of YouTube controversy. A lot of Harry Potter shifting fans did not like the way that I was making fun of shifting, and they felt like I was targeting young women who were just participating in like a harmless trend. And of course, I loved the attention. I fed into the controversy completely. I made a whole video trying to debunk shifting, and I tried debating anyone who would say otherwise. And maybe I was a little bit overconfident in some of my opinions. Of course, I started some unnecessary fights and I made some enemies, but the positive attention was always drowning out the haters. And so I loved it. I welcomed it. I kept making videos about weirdos on the internet. I gained a couple thousand more subscribers, and I made a lot less videos about young women and a lot more videos about weird guys.
Start watching women and then start breaking them down from head to toe.
Bro, this is my bank account.
Beards are just makeup for men. Imposter? Is this the imposter from Among Us?
Yes.
The internet truly has no shortage of weird guys to laugh at, and I took full advantage of that, of course. I made a video making fun of this one guy who ended up having me on his stream to like debate me.
Men are actually apes, by the way. Human beings are apes, and yes, men are human being apes who are looking for sex.
And then I made a second channel called greenisnotnick, where I posted the interview, and a lot of people liked it. Starting beef with random people made me feel powerful, especially when you have a bunch of people watching your videos telling you that you're right all the time. Now, around the same time, I became friends with a big YouTuber named Danny who lived near me when I moved back into my parents' house in Illinois. I used to make videos about this guy. I used to make songs about this guy, and now he's begging me to make a video with him. So we ended up talking about this weird guy on my channel named Jeremy Fragrance, and it was a hit. And this video picked up so much steam that every day I was getting another 10,000 people subscribing to my YouTube channel. So literally in the span of a month, I went from having 3,000 subscribers to 100,000. I very quickly started making YouTube videos full time out of my parents' house. I started making a lot of YouTube videos with people that I met online, including my boss Curtis, who is now having me edit his gaming videos for his gaming channel. I moved out of my parents' house. I made this video about these Christian podcasters that did really well, and it caused me to make a third channel that was just dedicated to posting dumb shit that was too low effort for my other two channels. Green is Not Nick was lower effort than Nick is Not Green, but this new channel, He Said Us, was even lower effort than the Green is Not Nick videos.
Probably the shittiest Avengers movie I've ever seen.
And at this point, I was basically posting a video every single day out of my apartment, and the viewers and money that I was making from this gave me more confidence than I really knew what to do with at the time. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but the way that this attention affected my ego after years of sort of underperforming compared to my peers in academics and extracurricular activities, well, it was pretty unhealthy. But, you know, we'll get back to that, because more importantly during this time, I had another run-in with the Harry Potter fan community when I learned that I was a popular fan cast for Harry Potter's dad in a gay POC prequel fan fiction. Yes, I was fan casted as a young, gay, brown James Potter.
When he's rich, pure blood, who befriends misfits, and is also a DILF.
And there were a lot of fan favorite casting choices for James Potter. I mean, I remember Aaron Taylor Johnson was in there, a bunch of actors that sort of kind of looked like me, and then up-and-coming YouTube sensation Nick is Not Green.
Fan fiction is called The Look of It by City Night Pigeon. And right here you can see first cast James, Nick Green, Nick is Not Green. Lily, yes, I'll come, also good morning. And then I immediately come in and I say, already in the call where we meeting.
During this time, I was collaborating with a lot of people, making videos with other YouTubers who became good friends of mine in real life. One of them being a musician and YouTuber named Dev Lemons, who became a good friend of mine and ended up showing up in a lot of videos of mine over the next few months. And in November, I decided to start a dedicated gaming channel where I would be playing through video games with friends of mine. Nick is Not Gaming, the new Markiplier, is what they were saying at the time. This lasted a few months, but after a while, I didn't really feel like I was doing anything original or new with the channel, and I got bored. And this honestly became a recurring theme with ideas that I had as I continued to do YouTube. I was always coming up with big, ambitious video ideas that would never see the light of day because I sucked at focusing on something for more than like a few days at a time. So over time, I just made a lot of the same low effort videos of me just making fun of the same guys every single day. So at the end of my first year of being a YouTuber, I had a crisis that resulted in a video I made at the start of 2022 titled, YouTube Makes Me Want to Quit. Very dramatic title. I began this long internal battle with myself between making videos that YouTube wanted me to make versus making YouTube videos that I wanted to make. YouTube liked when I made a lot of low effort videos about really specific trending topics. I got more views and more money and more attention as a result of it. And I felt incentivized to make videos that weren't really as creatively fulfilling to me. I wanted to spend more time making focused YouTube videos that made me happy to make, but then I would get less views and I would feel defeated and less motivated, and the cycle would continue. As someone who worked a lot better at making small videos every day rather than one long video over a week, I found it really hard to make videos that I felt proud of, especially compared to peers of mine in the same space who are making really unique YouTube videos. When YouTube's kind of your only thing you're doing, you want to feel creatively fulfilled by it. You want to be proud of the videos you're putting out, or else it just feels like you're churning out stuff. And that's good if you have another output for your creativity or another way to express yourself, but I was kind of just focused on this. But internal struggles aside, I began a new year of YouTube, and I still had no idea what I was doing. Around this time, I started a band called Queef Jerky with my friend Dev. The band was kind of supposed to be a joke, so we could kind of just shit out songs and put them on Spotify. And we made our first song, which was just called Queef Jerky, and then we put it up and kind of just forgot about it. I made a video ranking every jelly bean. I also started a series on my third channel where I used like an AI voice of myself to talk about the Harry Potter movies as I watched them for the first time. A lot of lore I had with Harry Potter. Wish it could have been like Hunger Games or something. Maybe not Harry Potter. Maybe like Divergent or something. Between my off-putting Harry Potter movies, the jelly beans, the Queef Jerky, my sophomore year as a YouTuber was off to a great start. So I continued to talk about a bunch of weird guys as I do, but I definitely got a little too into it, and I made this one serious video calling for this one guy to get banned, and I went like really hard at him. To be fair, he was doing some really mean stuff, but I like fully leaned into internet beef with guys like this, despite how like messy and annoying it was. And it made me feel really tense, and it wasn't really fun, but it did feel good when I slammed these guys online in front of everybody. And I guess I really liked shitting on men who weren't really as morally like good as I was, right? And even though these videos promoted like overall good values, they still were pretty mean-spirited, and they took a lot of the fun away from the normal commentary that I was making on my channels. Then I put out a video in March at the suggestion of my therapist at the time, and I talked about a lifelong fear that had occupied my mind for a lot of my life. I grew up as a really strong Christian, and I developed this all-consuming fear of death that was affecting me pretty heavily at the time, despite the fact that I sort of stopped being Christian just a couple of years earlier. Definitely a big bummer of a video, huge bummer, but it helped that hundreds of thousands of people watched it, and there were a lot of people that it resonated with, and it honestly helped me move past it after some time. Now in April, I made a video for 420 where I played a game that I came up with, very unique original game called You Cringe, You Smoke. Now I was pretty new to smoking weed or cannabis at the time, but this series ended up becoming very recurring on my channel and was enjoyed by a lot of self-proclaimed potheads. And I'm not talking about those silly Harry Potter fans. And I did really end up leaning pretty hard into like smoking weed is my thing, which, you know, even though I do love it, maybe I tried a little bit too hard to incorporate it into my job. Now, I think around this time, I also began to receive more general criticism from the internet about my channel. And even though I didn't make a specific video about this, I probably talked about it a lot on Twitter at the time. And thank God I don't have access to any of my old tweets anymore, because I talked a lot on Twitter. I said some probably very embarrassing things. And it really does make me cringe to think about how overly confident and defensive I was against any haters that I had online. And as much as I refuse to admit it, I hated being wrong. Big surprise there. Now, one major critique that I would see online is that I pandered to my audience, which was mostly made up of a lot of young women. People thought that I made a lot of these videos about weird men in order to appease the young women that watched me and for them to look up to me as like one of the good ones. And this critique really bothered me at the time, and I hated the fact that anyone out there, even random strangers, saw what I did or how I was as like insincere. I just wanted to make funny videos, and suddenly I'm seen as this nice guy. I'm just a nice guy all of a sudden. I'm like, come on guys, I make a lot of different videos. It's not just about weird guys. Like, yeah, most of them, sure, there's a lot of ones about weird guys, but that's what... We can't talk about weird guys anymore? It's illegal to talk about weird guys? Looking back, it is not a surprise that I had this association. I feel like I mostly made a lot of videos about guys because making fun of like women online just felt a little wrong, and like there's plenty of that going on. We can let the women make fun of the women. Maybe I'll make fun of women sometimes. And with all the videos that I was putting out, I needed a lot of simple bottom tier content in order to keep the output going, keep the machine running. So I don't really think it was necessarily a conscious decision, but it was definitely giving straight cis male feminist vibes. As the year went on, I made even more videos about guys doing bad stuff. I went to an NFT convention in Los Angeles.
Bored Ape or CryptoPunk?
Bored Ape.
Tacos or burritos?
Let's go with tacos.
Russia, Ukraine?
Ukraine all day, baby. Fuck Russia, unless you're a good person over there, like that you don't know anybody. There's state media, I understand, but Ukraine, I fucking love those people, man. I want to so badly go help and fight on your front lines because you people are fighting for freedom, and I fucking love you people for it in Ukraine. You have my heart and soul, and I donated personally $1,500 to Ukraine because you guys are awesome.
Israel or Palestine?
Israel.
Queef Jerky put out another song. I made a video where I was amazed with AI and how good AI was getting, which has aged really poorly. And I also talked about this guy named Andrew Tate, who I actually made a video about a year earlier when he was relatively unknown. In September, I started a podcast, my first podcast, with another YouTuber friend that I had named Ryan Beard, who makes videos in Australia. And the podcast was about a fake religion that we started where we worshipped a god named Gormu. A month after that, I visited Los Angeles and I officially decided that I wanted to move out of Illinois and start a new life in California. During this time, Queef Jerky had come out with our debut album, and we released it just a few days before I moved. I flew to California by myself, and I moved into a fancy house, and I bought a fancy car, and I felt like I was finally a real YouTuber, like I had finally made it. However, moving across the country away from my friends and family into an empty house by myself really started off my luxurious Los Angeles lifestyle with some debilitating anxiety. I did not feel as good as I thought I was going to when I showed up in Los Angeles. And I tried doing this thing in December to kind of get me back up on my feet called Daily December, where I posted a video every day in December. And it very quickly ended because I was not doing well in my head. I was twisted in the head. And at the same time, my views were kind of taking a dip too, which made me feel like people weren't really interested in watching me anymore. I mean, only 100,000 views per video? What am I gonna do? This shit's embarrassing. I decided to take a short break for the first time in a long time. And 1 year after my last YouTube crisis, I was having yet another crisis, figuring out what I wanted to make on this stupid website. At the end of 2022, after about 7 episodes, the Fellowship Covenant podcast ended. With everything I was struggling with after the move and all of my crises with YouTube, it was hard to produce a podcast with someone that lived halfway across the world, and it resulted in me making a very dumb decision to move forward with the podcast by myself under a different format. Instead, I started interviewing friends of mine in real life about religion and death, and none of this really felt natural to me, and I didn't feel good about it, and I ended the podcast after a couple episodes, and I was very embarrassed that I tried to keep it going in the first place. And this kind of continued this repeating trend where I would quickly give up on video ideas that didn't really go my way immediately. And I feel like this is kind of a result of the success that I had early on in YouTube. It felt like everyone kind of always loved everything that I was making. So when things didn't do well right away, I would kind of just panic and shut down. Whoops. My bad. I started making some more video essay style videos that weren't really received as well as I wanted them to be. And I feel like every time I put my energy into one of these higher effort videos, the pressure was so intense and I really built up this unhealthy association that I had with work. In fact, making this video took so long because every time I would try to work on it, I would cry and shake like a little dog that's scared of like a bigger dog, I guess. It's like a dog that's like struggling mentally, who like really can't figure out his way in life, you know, like a dog who's just crazy.
Hello, it's Nick from the future with a new shirt on. I really want to talk about a video that I made during this time where I really wanted to run a red light with my car because I never did anything illegal when I was younger. So I wanted to find the safest way for me to run a red light.
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Yes.
I think the video is really funny, but it did not perform well. But as time went on, a lot of people who I'd meet in real life would say that that video is their favorite video I've made, which is just another indication that views don't equal good video. You know, there's a lot of videos that were like current events that I kind of made half-assed and they got a bunch of views, but no one's meeting me in real life and telling me that their favorite video I made was like me reacting to Colleen Ballinger's apology. And around this time, I actually went on tour for the first time. I was playing drums for my friend Dev, who was opening up for a big band for a whole month. And also at this point, she had moved to Los Angeles. We accidentally fell in love with each other. And after a few months, she moved into my house. We started this series on my third channel where we air fried stuff for a long time. It was kind of fucked up, honestly. People didn't like those videos. They did not do that well, but honestly, it's kind of some of the best content I've ever made. Queef Jerky ended up putting out our second album, and we made an official YouTube channel for the band, which wasn't really getting that much traction at this point, and we were really misunderstood musical pioneers of our time.
Shit on the mattress, I got to leave. There's shit on the mattress, bitch.
Now, while I was on the road touring, I started making videos about drama that was happening on TikTok for my second channel, and it picked up a lot of steam during a time where I thought people didn't really care about what I was making anymore. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I had a niche that people enjoyed watching, and my channel became more successful than it ever had before. I was making country music drama, tattoo drama, JoJo Siwa, and a lot of different controversies that were getting a lot of views. And these videos were still low effort enough where I could be putting them out multiple times a week. I made this video about these K-pop girls that were getting canceled, and I pretty much called them racist for like speaking Korean and becoming K-pop idols because that's what they enjoyed doing. And it got me some pretty understandable hate from that side of the internet. I don't think that was cool. Later on, I had a video where I made fun of this lady who got kicked off of an airplane for saying some crazy stuff, and I claimed that she was under the influence. And a lot of people were understandably upset that I wrote off the possibility of her having an untreated mental breakdown, and for it to be posted viral on the internet had to be very humiliating. And then later I made a video making fun of this couple who did this thing called the love surge, and I made jokes about the harassment that they were receiving as a part of this. I was not really being sensitive about the topics I was talking about, given the fact that so many people were watching the videos, and I was really on a hot streak of making videos that made groups of people uncomfortable or upset at me. Despite this, I was putting out dozens of videos every month, so a lot of this just felt unnoticeable or unimportant to me. And why would I care about all that mean stuff I said when around the same time, my band Queef Jerky put out a song called Pineapple Upside Down, which ended up becoming a viral hit on TikTok, and it propelled our band into fame that we had not yet previously considered possible.
I need white noise to sleep. I need a sleep mask on me. I shoot my gun like pow, pow, pow. I shoot my shout like how are yow.
Queef Jerky became a household name for annoying people. We even had our first live show as Queef Jerky, and it sold out and was a huge success. And I felt quite unstoppable. Around this time, there was a popular YouTube channel that close friends of mine really did not like. My friend's partner used to work for this channel, and they were regularly telling me about these horrible experiences that they were having working with this channel. Now, just to remind everyone, this video is about me and my internet journey, so I'm doing my best to avoid identifying anyone in this video because I do not feel like anyone involved in this story deserves to have it brought up again. I am trying to keep it purposefully vague and concise, so please do not reach out to or talk to anyone that I may be referencing in this video. Please be cool. After months of hearing about these experiences, my friend's partner decided to go ahead and make a video calling out and exposing these YouTubers, and they asked me if I would make a video about it and spread the word. I eagerly agreed to do it. I had heard so many stories from my friend. I felt angry on behalf of them. I wanted to see these people publicly face consequences for their actions, and I also knew that this was going to be a big story that people would want to hear about. There were a lot of fans of mine who knew about this channel. I was actually a big fan of this YouTube channel when I started making videos. I had a bunch of their merch, I bought their book, and in 2021 I even made a tier list video ranking hot cartoon moms from a tier list that they made for their channel. But obviously my love for this channel turned into this extreme distaste, and so I made my video and I did not hold back really at all. I didn't even wait for this channel to respond to the allegations before I made my video, and I made it very clear what side I was on before they had the chance to say anything. The title of my video was "Blank is full of horrible people." Really not the most nuanced take of mine. In this video, I relentlessly went after these YouTubers, and I made a lot of mean jokes that were really in bad taste given how serious the allegations were. At the time, I justified it and felt like it was just another day dunking on some shitty guys, but it was very clear that this was like a much different video than the other ones that I was making on my channel. The original video had private information about the personal lives of these people, and it wasn't just them, but like the innocent people around them that had to deal with this information being publicized by people like me. Not to mention that I also had a personal relationship with these people, so there was obviously a bias in my stance. A few days later, this channel came out and gave a very lengthy and serious response to all of this, refuting a lot of what was said in the video. And behind the scenes, of course, my friends who made the original video called BS on all of this to me and said that this was all very refutable and untrue. And despite not asking for any of that evidence to ensure that they were being honest with me, I made a follow-up video covering what these YouTubers said to defend themselves, and I didn't give them any grace at all. Any sort of credit or truth that I was giving to these guys meant that I was turning my back on a close friend of mine, and so I was not willing to publicly give any credit to the enemy. This whole controversy was way too personal for me to cover in a fair way, and I made sure that everyone knew what the correct side to be on was. And people did not like this video, obviously, but I refused to look at any of the comments or see what people were saying, and I just claimed that it was fans of this YouTube channel that were upset that I was calling them out and that I was shitting on their favorite YouTubers. And I didn't just post these videos, but I also talked shit on my Instagram stories and was in full denial towards anybody that said that I may have been wrong in what I did. Around the same time, a lot of other YouTube videos started making lengthy videos about the situation and about me specifically, and a lot of these channels happened to be these sort of male red pill type channels that I'd spent a long time making fun of. In my video, and this whole situation became sort of the prime example of faulty allegations and cancel culture gone wrong for these kind of channels to talk about, which is really damaging because now my mistakes are being used as ammunition against people who are very real victims of some horrible shit. And it's used as an excuse to sort of write off anyone who may be trying to stand up to someone who's doing shit that they should not be doing. And because most of the hate that I was receiving was coming from these kinds of channels, it reassured me that I was on the right side and that the hate that I was getting was completely misguided. You know, you look at a thumbnail that looks like this, and it's hard to take it seriously. And it also helped that I was turning away and refusing to look at any criticism I was getting about this situation, even from fans of mine who had honest criticism of my actions. I was only seeing the most extreme forms of criticism towards me, calling me and my friends liars and horrible people. And I always wrote all these people off as internet trolls who don't understand the situation that's going on. And I assumed it was going to pass after some amount of time. And it definitely did not pass, no matter how many videos I kept making to try to get away from it. The hate comments were very inescapable, and even though I was still in denial of doing anything wrong, I still felt like I had to address it in order for it to finally leave me alone. And unfortunately, at this time in my life, I also don't feel like I had a lot of friends in my life who were honest with me about what I was doing, besides maybe my partner. And I was really bad about receiving criticism after digging my heels in so hard for this whole situation. I spent a lot of time surrounding myself with people who would reassure me and enable me constantly, and it took me way too long to realize how unhealthy that was. And at this point, it felt like the controversy was affecting every single little part of my life. So a couple months later, I decided to finally make a video talking about it again, and I hoped that even if people disagreed with me, it would kind of finally settle the discourse and everyone could move on happily ever after. Which is like baffling to me looking back, that I thought that that was the way to do it. Like, that's crazy to me. The video was horrible. It did not like own up to me doing anything wrong, and it honestly made things even worse. I think that this was kind of truly the moment where a lot of my fans lost respect for me, and it's scary to look back on because in hindsight, it was such an obviously bad idea, but when you're in this echo chamber and you're unwilling to budge or admit wrongdoing, it can lead to these publicly humiliating decisions. And I really never thought I was the kind of person who could have a controversy like this happen to me. I always thought that I had the foresight and common sense to avoid doing something that was intentionally damaging and embarrassing to myself. And I even talked to my friends and spent like days thinking about posting the video, and I still put it out for everyone to see. And over the next few days, I decided to take the video down, and I slowly started walking back things that I said. And I finally made the decision to cut off my friends who I initially made the video for in the first place, because they still strongly believed that we did not do anything wrong and that there was no reason to apologize. But even after taking down these videos, the association that this whole controversy had to my channel and to my face made it very hard for me to make things right and gain anyone's trust back. And after continually just trying to post through it, I finally took yet another break from posting YouTube videos at the end of 2023. It took until January, 6 months after the initial videos, for me to finally put out a proper apology. And by this point, it was far too late for me to make anything right. Every company that I was working with stopped working with me. Internet friends of mine distanced themselves from me and stopped talking to me. And I probably lost about 100,000 subscribers from fans of mine who did not respect me or care for me anymore. It felt like everywhere I went on the internet, I saw people hating me. Random DMs or emails, messages to my friends or my partner, random Reddit threads that I would come across. One time I came across a pretty popular TikTok talking about how my content had made such a decline in quality, and all the comments were talking about like how hard I fell off from YouTube. And mostly a lot of YouTube thumbnails with my face front and center. And as someone who had pretty much put all of his self-worth into his online presence the past 3 years, this pretty much broke me harder than anything that I had experienced in my life so far. It felt very humiliating, and it felt so public and inescapable to me because of how much I cared about the way people thought about me and my audience and YouTube. This whole thing was so all-consuming, and I literally never stopped worrying about it. This is really giving like feel bad for me, but it's part of the story. I ended up even distancing myself from most of the friends that I still had because I just
felt like they saw me differently after everything happened. And even the friends that I still had, when I talked to them, they just had to listen to me obsess over these feelings for months because there was nothing else that I would feel, you know? And that sounds crazy because like there's a lot more to life, and of course there is, but not for me. It was all that I could think about, and it made me a really bad person to be around. And ironically, this was pretty much what I was trying to do to the YouTubers that I made that video about in the first place, and now it was happening to me. And not just me, but other close people to me in my life who did not do anything wrong. And I was responsible for it, and it was too late for me to do anything to make things better. It didn't matter how aware I was of the embarrassing things that I said and I did. This is how people knew me now. And I grew to really hate that person and hate that I had his face and his name. Every time I met people in real life, I worried about whether or not they knew about all the worst mistakes I made and all the awful things that people said about me online. The past 3 years were filled to the brim with content, but of course this year looked a lot different. Every single video that I worked on and put out felt like this huge hurdle that resulted in panic and fear and embarrassment. And suddenly this thing that I grew up wanting to do, that I loved doing more than anything else, just made me feel a lot of pain. And it made me feel very distant from the people that supported and enjoyed what I was doing in the first place. I tried putting out this new series called Now Alert that I put a lot of creative effort into and that I worked on with a lot of talented people. But after 2 videos, I really felt horrible about it and I stopped. They obviously weren't received as well as the videos that I used to make. And even though I was proud of them on a surface level, it felt like it was tainted by everything else that had happened. I tried making some other classic commentary videos and those really performed horribly. And suddenly I went from worrying about, 100,000 views to worrying about whether or not 30,000 people would watch what I wanted to make. Which, sounds fine. Like 30,000 people still want to watch everything you do. That's great. But when your standard is so much bigger than that, anything under it feels like you're a complete failure. It wasn't, 30,000 people want to watch what I'm putting out online. It's 90% of the people that watched me before do not care anymore. I felt like I was truly successful for the first time in my life. I felt like my parents could be really proud of the son that they raised. And I felt like my job was a way that I could support myself and even my family in the future. And very quickly, all of that went away. And the hardest part was that there was nobody else to put blame on besides myself. And I think that most YouTubers who go through big controversies end up having no problem persisting through the hate and continuing to post until people forget and move on to the next thing. But unfortunately, I am not that kind of person. Knowing how people felt about me and looking at it every day completely crumpled my confidence, and I could not work or post or do anything through any of it. From now on, when my parents or my friends or my fans look up my name online, they get to see the type of person that I was and the type of person I was willing to be. I felt so unbelievably bad about what I did, but did it even matter at this point? Did I only feel bad because I had to face the consequences for what I did? I mean, I don't think I would have felt the way that I do about this now if I didn't lose everything. And I still think I struggle with the fact that no matter what I say, a lot of people still aren't going to think it's genuine. And for good reason, too. So back to business. After the extreme success that Queef Jerky saw the year prior, we had a big album planned and a whole countrywide tour planned for that summer. Now, internally, I felt really worried about this whole thing because I was really unprepared to be in front of a bunch of people in real life for the first time in a really long time. I expected to be back posting YouTube videos by now and be able to promote it and sort of have fun with the whole thing, but it kind of just became really scary to me, despite how much I wanted to do it, because I love touring and I love Queef Jerky. And it was really the only thing that I was looking forward to all year. So we ended up going through with it despite how terrified I was of how people were going to see me. And the fact that there were a lot of people out there who did not like me and had direct access to what location I was going to be at for a month. The tour ended up having a lot of highs and lows, but it was really this positivity and passion that the Queefers brought to the shows that truly made me happier than I had felt in such a long time. And maybe the happiest I've ever felt, like, ever. This tour was my favorite thing I've ever done for my job. And after doing this, I really knew that touring and performing music was something that I wanted to do forever. We had a lot of really exciting things planned for the band once the tour was over. But when I got back to Los Angeles, a lot of the bad feelings came back. And a few months later, I actually moved out of Los Angeles. My relationship ended and the band broke up. You know, I don't want to talk about the personal details for obvious reasons, but it is the saddest life decision I've ever had to make, to leave Los Angeles and say goodbye to my home and my pets and the best friend that I've ever had. Sometimes there's so much weight tied to a certain time in your life, and no matter how hard you try to heal from it and move on, those horrible feelings don't go away, and the cycle never ends. So yeah, I started over. I moved back to Illinois, and now I live in this apartment in Chicago. And through all of this, I feel really bad that the people that continued to support me through the tour never got any sort of thank you or goodbye for how special they were to me and Dev. Yo, my bad. You guys were such a huge part of our lives, and you gave us so much love, and it just kind of ended out of nowhere without any reasoning or explanation, and I'm really sorry for that. I still hold on to all the gifts and the letters we got. I still remember the conversations I had with so many of you on tour, and I'll truly never forget how much all of that changed my life. I feel like Queef Jerky weirdly, like, made me a person that I'm so much prouder to be because of the fans and because of Dev, and I just, like, I'm, like, very grateful for it, but it is hard to, like, watch it go. After tour, I felt this, like, big inspiration to start making music that is, like, meant to be played live, meant to be enjoyed in a crowd with a bunch of people, because I felt the energy so strongly on tour, and I just wanted to lean into that. When I moved out of Los Angeles in October, I decided to go to Germany to live with my friend for a month to produce this solo album that I've been working on for a little bit over a year now. I always struggled making these long-term projects, but this album and this world that we've been building is something that I truly have just put my all into, and I'm so proud and excited for people to see it. Truly, the end goal of all of this is for me to be able to tour the country again with all of my friends, and this is the first step to making that happen. And by the time this video is out, my first music video and single for my new project called Face Eater should be out now for everybody to watch. That's crazy to finally say. There's so much more to enjoy this year coming soon, but I hope you enjoy the song and everything that we've been putting together. I swear this entire video is not just promo for my music. I didn't just cry on camera just to promote my song. I swear you have to believe me. I still have more to say, okay? Rewind back to before I moved. I tried starting another channel that was for me reacting and talking about different albums. But once I moved, I had this feeling that I wanted to just stop posting altogether, and I just got off the internet. Okay, so it's been a few weeks since I recorded the last portion of the video, and so now I'm back to do the outro. Okay, so back in October when I was in Germany, I made the official decision to quit YouTube. Hang it up, I was retiring. At the time, I think that I was just at a point where I felt like YouTube dictated so much of my life and how I felt on a day-to-day basis, and I just felt like I couldn't let it make me sad anymore. So I was like, I'm done. And then I moved to Chicago in like February, and as I began my life again, I just felt this primal urge inside of me to make videos again. I don't really know. I just kept thinking about video ideas and things that I wanted to talk about online, and I missed it a lot. And I knew it was going to be like really uncomfortable to initially get back into it, but I didn't want to just like give up on it forever. The people needed me. Think about all the bad stuff that's happened in the world since I stopped making YouTube videos. I don't really know how I'm gonna feel when this video comes out. I could just post like one more time and then be like, no, this sucks. But I want to try. I really want to try. And more importantly, I want to go back to YouTube with a new goal in mind which is who cares? Like, who cares? I spent so long putting pressure on myself to do something bigger and more important, but it's YouTube. It's youtube.com. It's really not that serious. These are literally YouTube videos. Whether I want to make a bunch of dumb videos about dumb guys, or if I want to talk about like all my new hobbies that I've acquired since not being on YouTube, I'm just going to try to do it and have fun doing it. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's the plan. No algorithm, just a good time. And now that I have the Face Eater project to kind of put my creative energy into, I feel like I can just relax. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know what'll happen. I don't know. If you're here and you watch till the end of the video, thank you. And if you've stuck around the past few years to just watch me ramble at the camera, double thank you. Whatever happens, it was an honor to be a part of your life in some twisted, fucked up way. And I'm really hoping that we get to see more of each other soon. Okay, that's it. Watch my new music video. Goodbye.